Good morning, guys. I was just listening to Hegseth started talking about the that freedom operation. They're going to start guiding ships out of the in through the strait that they're talking right now on TV. Anyway, so looking at the market right now, we are pretty much holding on to the gains. Yesterday we had a little bit of a scare, a little bit of a rundown. We're back up again. Nasdaq is almost making new highs again. And it doesn't look like any of the earnings which came out yesterday has really knocked off the trajectory to the upside. Now we have a little bit of news coming out this morning. At 8:30 we get the international trade. 9:45 we get PMI composite. At 10 o'clock we get new home sales and ISM services and job openings. So at 10 o'clock we get let's see, new home sales, ISM, and job openings. Yeah, 10 o'clock. So that's what it is. On 8:30, 9:45, and 10, we have news. Market is still holding on pretty darn good. And I'm not seeing any any new curveballs. I'm not seeing any any headwinds really. I mean, more than if you get a curveball out of the Iranian situation, if they start the shooting stuff there again, I don't think the market's going to react as knee-jerky to the downside, but it's probably going to be a reaction for that. Other than that, I mean, the market is trying to trade higher. I mean, you have a great earnings season, and market is just you get these days up, and then we get a little knockdown, and we get the days up. That's perfectly normal market behavior. As long as the key support areas hold, and anything like we had yesterday, that probe down to that 7200s was pretty much just that, the probe. So from the high 7300s down to the low 7200s, looks like that's where they cut off the selling right now. So you have a spot which cut off the buying, we have a spot which cut off the selling. This whole move out of the middle looks like it's coming to balance. So if they can't extend today to the upside, we're probably going to be entering stage 3 in that profile, start building value around about that 7250 area. So that's kind of the dynamic we're looking at. Let's see if they're going to be if that's going to come to pass, or if they're going to try to run the highs here and move higher. So starting off right now, range bound, since they did cut off the buying, and it looks like they may have cut off the selling yesterday, then I'm just going to start off with the assumption that we're going to be range bound and trade it as such. So I would still favor the long side, given that we started with a move out of the middle to the upside. So I would favor buying weakness for rotations up. I will not be hesitating too much to take short trades against these upper areas, but just a little bit less aggressively. So we're going to buy against that 72.45s, 72.35s, 72.20s, 72.10s for rotations up. Below 72.10s, it's starting to take worry about the short side. Below the 7200, yeah. So these two support areas, the 7210 and 7200, are the one to pay attention to for potential reversal down here in this lower range again. And on the way up, looking for shorts against that 7270s, the 80s, up to the 7300s, and either of them could potentially hold. I'm not sure how strong this guy right is in the 7280s. It is a tapering edge. It goes, you can see how these four little edges just stay right there, all the way from 7280 to 7300s almost, 95. I have a little burst up here to 7300. So definitely finding more resistance here. So, but both these edges are marked up. So 7295 to 7300s, 7280s, both of them could potentially hold. So that's how we get started. Pretty straightforward, and not sure if we're going to if any news is going to drive this one way or the other. But we do have news 8:30, 9:45, and 10. So that's the ES, and as I said, I favor the long side. If I get weakness, I'm going to look to buy against that all the way down here to that 72.10 level. So 72.45s, 35s, 20s, and 10s for rotations up. I think the better edges may be the London low here and the potential 72.20s. Not sure in the middle here it's going to be that strong, but it is there because we have a mode in overnight there. We have a couple of levels, so you see this upper range, this lower range, this lower range. So you have edges of distributions lining up in that area. So that's why it's marked up. NASDAQ. Oh, look at NASDAQ. Just making new highs. Look at that thing. All right. So we are making new highs. There you go. I love when that happens when they're doing an updates. So NASDAQ, a much stronger reaction in the ES. They are up here now, flirting with the highs. In the overnight, though, still. So I would favor it alongside. Nasdaq hasn't quite cut off the buying yet. So you can see here Nasdaq, if I split it out, this first move out of the middle, it barely made it. Next one, pretty good. That was Friday's. Monday extended in the overnight, then it got knocked down. Right now in the overnight, we're extending again. We'll see if we get knocked down in the day session. But as you can tell, there's definitely an appetite for taking this higher, and that's kind of what's going on right now. See, so looking to buy weakness on the Nasdaq, all the way down here to the 740s right now. The 680s and the 620s here, these two lower support areas, they get tested, and it's backing off a little bit more than we want, put it that way. But right now it looks very much like they're trying to take it higher. So they're up here in price discovery territory. So technically we haven't cut off the buying yet on the Nasdaq. So even if it looks like they're kind of building a distribution here, that's you can see on the capital flow chart that they're pushing the highs. They're pushing. It's not just a stop run. You may argue that, but yesterday you can see that that's a little bit more than a stop run. Right now, it looks like a little bit more than a stop run, running higher. Definitely pushing it. So I would leave it that hasn't quite cut off the buying just yet. We'll see when we get the little burst to the upside and a good run and a good rotation down from it. We're looking at right now, buying against the 950s. It would be pretty aggressive. That's buying against the last high. Looking at the 910, the 870s, 800s, 730s, 670s, 680s, down to that 610 to 620 support area. Now, I think these two support areas, the 730s and the 680s, are the ones to initially look for. Confirmation you get below 620. If that goes that far down and start taking that out, yeah, we have some problems going on at that point. Now, yes, so you know, then on the Nasdaq, this could certainly happen. I mean, you can certainly get a day on the Nasdaq where they extend like this in the overnight, making new highs, and they take out the low here in the afternoon. That could certainly happen on the Nasdaq. That's how crazy that market is. But right now, it looks like we have pretty good shape. ES is trading higher, but not making any new highs. Nasdaq is making new highs right now. So heading up to 28,000. Watch it. We got 28,000. There it is. 28,000 on the Nasdaq. Wait for the knockdown. Nice and round number, hitting 28,000 as we are speaking, and expect a little knockdown right now. Anyway, so that's the ES and the Nasdaq. Both of them nice little run up here. Definitely more than a stop run, and definitely extending to the upside. Bond market, not doing much. They took it lower yesterday, and they are down here in the lower 112s. Testing the 112 level, the buck. So far that's holding, but we are down here at lower areas. We haven't been down here for we've been steadily we haven't been below the 111 for a while, or sorry, 112 for a while. But we've been down here flirting with these levels now for a while, and chances are we're going to see them try to take this out and trade a bit lower. That means yields come higher, and that's not a great sign overall for the market. Usually when yields were ticking up, the stock market was having a big fit. But right now it feels very much like the stock market is turning higher right into those higher yields. So pretty interesting dynamic. So the traditional back and forth higher interest rates going to knock down the market. All these little wall of worries is being climbed, and the market is stubbornly making new highs. So bond market, yeah, I would say it's the same, stay range bound. I would favor the short side on the bond market right now, looking to sell strength. against the 112, 13, 14. That would be aggressive right now. Against the 1220s, 1226s, up to that 113s. If they start taking out the 113s, maybe we have a reversal going on, but I would look for short setups all the way up to that 113 level. Doesn't mean that you can't hop on a long on the way up here, because when the bond market starts moving, taking out some highs, if they start taking out that 112 20s, they could certainly be running it all the way up to 113. Could be a nice long trade setting up there. Yeah, I just had to wait for that area to come out with a little bit of conviction and a little bit of volume. So that's the bond market. So range bound, I would favor the short side, looking for short setups against strength. I would look to buy against the 12, 6 to 7 and the 112 evens for rotations up. Just a little bit less aggressive on the 112s there. But the 112 could be a nice long trade setting up. It would be a retest from yesterday if that happens. So I would look for that retest, and that doesn't mean it's going to happen, you know. And finally, just a quick note on the cryptos. Not much going on there. You can see they are pretty sloppy right now, and not a lot of directional moves going on there to work with that. So haven't done anything on the cryptos in the overnight. Just kind of watching it, but it looks pretty sloppy right now to get started. So yeah, flipping back and forth pretty wildly. So haven't done anything on those. No direct dynamic to report there either. So back to the ES and the Nasdaq. And yeah, here's your knockdown. So they were up here at 28,000. Nasdaq immediately knocked down like 10 points down to the 990 at 12 points. So we'll see. Interesting. So, but they're definitely moving higher. We'll see if they're going to get another leg higher or not. But this was a pretty good run here. They felt that very much they're running it right up to the 28,000. Anyway, that's so the ES range bound favored alongside Nasdaq. Trade that from the long side right now. Just be mindful you're up in price discovery territory, so knocking it down could come at any time. If they keep going, just stay on the long side. All right, so that's how we get started. Now, if they take out the London low on the Nasdaq, especially the Nasdaq, given that they're extending into the upper highs, it could be a nice short trade, reversal trade there for them to knock it down a little bit further down in this distribution. So that would be a potential short early on, and basically a failure trade to take it higher. But I would give it a little bit of room, because it's as you are making new highs, you really want to get long against these support areas down to that London low. Same story with the ES, right? Really, but it's Nasdaq is really up here making new highs. So that's a little bit more valid for the Nasdaq right now. If they take out that 870 London low, could be a retest failure, could be a nice retracement coming after that. So that would be a potential short to look for. All right, guys, we'll wrap it there for now. So I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. It's a good trading. Let's see how crazy this day is going to get. All right, guys, later.